Greetings, guests, and Harvard Medical School and Harvard Medical Dental School graduates of the classes of 2020 and 2021. I am thrilled to be here celebrating with you today. I'm Ed Hundert, Dean for Medical Education, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the Harvard Medical School and Harvard School of Dental Medicine Class Day for the classes of 2020 and 2021. We want to welcome everyone who is here and also everyone who has joined us on the live stream, all the graduates and their families who couldn't be here in person. Welcome to all of you. We're thrilled to have you with us as well. Before we begin our ceremony, I just want to acknowledge all that is going on in our country today, including the continued impacts of COVID, the 2-year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd, and the lives that have been taken too soon, and most recently in Buffalo, New York, and Uvalde, Texas. Amid these and other tragedies, we are inspired by the hope represented by the recent graduates who are sitting right here in front of us today. Let us just take a moment of silence to center ourselves and acknowledge those who have died and those who are suffering across our country and around the world. Thank you. I am really thrilled that we could be here today. You think about when we were planning your virtual graduations, and we are going to get a chance to get together at some point, right? And we were like, we're going to do this. And I just think, first of all of our recent alumni, if you could just give yourselves a round of applause for everything you've been through. And now if you could all just stand up, turn around, and give your families a round of applause for the way they've supported you. And just maybe one more round of applause from everyone for the facilities team, the custodial staff who will clean up, the student affairs team made this all happen. You know, doing a ceremony for 2020 and 2021 makes a lot of sense for us because like half of our class of 2021 started in the class of 2020 anyway. So we probably should think about, making this a thing we do into the future. Medical and dental education are hard enough without doing it with a once-in-a-century global pandemic interceding. And as I was thinking about this moment in your lives where people are already out for a year or two and experiencing the ardors of clinical work, it occurred to me that, we join under this tent during the white coat ceremony, and people come in very energized and fresh, and they say they're going to dedicate themselves to humanism and values. And very often it's actually your internship and residency years that are the most challenging to maintaining that, belief that you can hold true to those values and hold on to that humanism. And so in some ways I feel like this ceremony has a lot of meaning for us in medicine and dentistry. This is like our white coat, laundry ceremony, our refresher. You can starch it back up, remember where you started in terms of your pledge to humanism in medicine. And it's just, I hope that you'll think of this ceremony a little bit like that as you go back to the ardors of the work that you're doing. I also want to welcome some of the master's students who I see have joined us as well, who have graduated in the last 2 years. Now to start the official festivities, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce the Dean of the Harvard School of Dental Medicine, Dr. William Ginobili. Dr. Ginobili is a leader in the field of periodontology and an internationally recognized scholar in oral regenerative medicine, tissue engineering, and precision medicine, where he published over 300 manuscripts, textbook chapters, and patents. Dean Ginobili is an alumnus of the Harvard School of Dental Medicine with an advanced degree in periodontology and oral biology. He completed his postdoctoral training in molecular biology at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and Harvard Medical School. And in 2020, in September, imagine starting as the dean of the school in September of 2020, he was appointed as the 11th dean of the Harvard School of Dental Medicine. It has been really a pleasure to work with him these last 2 years. It's my distinct privilege to welcome him now to the podium. Dean Ginobili.
Thank you, Dean Hundred. You're always so kind. Appreciate it. So, classes of 2020 and 2021, welcome back. It's great to see you. So I'm delighted to welcome you back to campus to celebrate this class day that you so very much deserve. This is a moment we all have been waiting for the chance to gather here together on the quad in recognition of your accomplishments. It's been said that patience is the calm acceptance that things can happen in a different order than the one you have in mind. This is certainly not the order any of us had in mind. So in fact, while you've been away, the pandemic has seemingly stretched our concept of space and time. You may even be thinking to yourself, who is this guy? He wasn't my dean. Believe it or not, it's a blur for me. And actually, I saw Ryan Lasson here, and while I wasn't dean at the time, I mean, his speech for class day was memorable. And so class of 2021, YouTube it, you have to see it. So it's definitely been a long, strange trip for sure for me as well, and I'm so grateful to have this chance to finally get to meet all of you and celebrate your accomplishments properly here today as treasured alumni of the Harvard School of Dental Medicine. So last year in an impromptu celebration outside the dental school, our community held up congratulatory signs and tooted noisemakers to our graduates in the class of 2021 and walked in regalia and gathered outside the school. It felt so amazing just to be doing something together after all the pandemic restrictions kept us apart. This feels even better. And those of you who had a chance to be at Harvard Yard today, it was truly amazing. You know, the weather that we had, and just these days that we've had of graduation. And I was actually sitting next to the dean of the diversity school, and I said, gosh, we just have had this beautiful weather. And he said, you know, we have people who can do something about that. But seriously, you know, now as you return as alumni, it's even more to celebrate. Not only do you have your DMD or MD degrees in hand, you are already making a difference in our profession. Our 2020 and 2021 Doctor of Dental Medicine graduates have fanned out across the country. Many of you are in residencies pursuing advanced specialty degrees. Others are pursuing master's degrees in public health, public policy, and education. And some are going on to roles in academia and research. And some are already practicing in private practice, the military, or in community health centers. So you're pouring your time and talent into roles that you love. Your journey in healthcare may have just begun here, but it's a launching pad to take you even farther. Your classes faced historic challenges, but the pandemic has not stopped you. It has instead driven you because you realize that healthcare needs you now. You join a distinguished group of alumni advancing equity and access to healthcare and shaping the future of our profession. So when the class of 2020 graduated over Zoom, the interim HSDM dean was Vicki Rosen, and she eloquently said in her remarks to the class, "We had hoped to teach you how to be resilient. In the end, you showed us what resilience really means. Not only have you accomplished what many could not have, but you have done it with a message of grace that is inspiring to all of us." So your grace, resilience, patience, and determination, these are qualities that you all embody. And so I hope that you look back on your time at HSDM and HMS with pride. We are extremely proud of you, so please relish this moment with your family, your friends, and fellow alumni. Take the time to reflect, reconnect, and most of all, celebrate. My sincerest congratulations to the class of 2020 and 2021. Okay, so now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Dr. Sang Park. She's our Associate Dean for Dental Education, and bring her onto the stage for the conferral of the dental degrees. Dean Park.
All right, thank you, Dean Ginobili. Good afternoon. I'm Sang Park, Associate Dean for Dental Education in the School of Dental Medicine. It is truly an honor to introduce to you our amazing members of the Harvard School of Dental Medicine class of 2020 and 2021. These incredible graduates have completed 4 or more years of study toward the degree of Doctor of Dental Medicine. Assisting in the hooding today are the society directors, and they are Dr. Sam Coffin, Dr. Aram Kim, Dr. Luis Lopez, Dr. Ryan Hacadia. Okay, class, are you ready? Oh, we have it. I'm gonna start at 20. Dr. Michael Barron. Dr. David Danesh. Dr. Jacob MG. Dr. Akshay Kirti. Dr. Jian Kim. Dr. Ryan David Lisan. Dr. Jenny Marinucci. Dr. Laurel Francis Martinez. Dr. Kara McLaughlin. Dr. Michael O'Donnell. Dr. Kelvin Rhodes. Dr. Kristen Danielle Sweeney. Dr. Jeffrey Taylor II. Dr. Matthew Tsai. Dr. Amy Yu. Dr. Shishi Zhou. Dr. Yu Owen Chang. Dr. Alexander Cruz Walma. Dr. Casey Disney Ha. Dr. Edward Joseph Hilton IV. Dr. David Lader Cornmell. Dr. Nikhil Mistry. Dr. Andrew Page. Dr. Ashwini Parchure. Dr. Daniel Mark Rostacker. Dr. Sean Siegel. Dr. Harad Safari. Good seeing you too. Okay. Families and friends, please join me in congratulating the Harvard School of Dental Medicine, class of 2020 and 21.
Congratulations, everybody. It's now my honor to introduce Dean George Daly. Dean Daly is the Dean of Harvard Medical School and the Carolyn Shields Walker Professor of Medicine, a physician scientist and authority on stem cell science and cancer biology. Dean Daly's discoveries have twice been cited in Science Magazine's top 10 breakthroughs of the year. He's co-authored the International Guidelines for the Conduct and Clinical Translation of Stem Cell Research in Regenerative Medicine, and for ethical oversight of emerging biotechnologies. Dr. Daly's priorities as Dean of Harvard Medical School include fostering innovative biomedical, computational, and healthcare policy research, building a pipeline of novel therapeutics founded on basic science, nurturing the next generation of physician scientists, and advancing diversity in science, technology, engineering, and medicine. And he is an unwavering supporter of medical student education. Dr. Daly went to Harvard College and then came to HMS to enroll in our HST program, through which he received both his MD from Harvard and his PhD in biology from MIT, after which he worked as an intern, resident, fellow, and staff physician at several of our HMS-affiliated hospitals, ultimately heading the stem cell transplant program at Boston Children's Hospital before he was tapped to become our dean. He is a true moral leader and role model for us all, and it is my great pleasure to introduce him to the podium.
Thank you, Ed. That was very kind. And it's just so great to welcome you all back. It's sort of like here for your first and second reunion, so we'll hope you keep up the return in the future. But I want to start by just giving my heartiest congratulations to the class of 2020 and 2021. Thank you. We're delighted to invite you and welcome you back to campus. This is a long-awaited celebration of your hard-won achievements. Rarely do we have the opportunity to recognize an entire class, let alone two, after its members have actually already entered their residencies and the workforce and are already making many contributions. So we'll thank you for that, and we'll be celebrating. Now, Harvard University itself, I understand, has canceled or modified several commencements during times of war and disease. And I think the last one for the pandemic was smallpox 300 years ago. So there's a bit of history behind this. But I believe that this is really the first time that we have had such a fulsome makeup celebration, bringing back 2 classes at once. And I just want to say it's just an absolute joy to be able to celebrate this incredibly special opportunity and this special moment with all of you. Of course, this is also a bittersweet occasion because the coronavirus pandemic upended your final years of medical and dental school. And it fundamentally altered your academic, your personal, and your professional lives. Of all the graduating HMS and HSDM students in recent histories, it was really your classes who have been the most affected by what is the greatest public health crisis of the last century. I imagine that some of you may have lost loved ones during this pandemic. And if so, I really want to express my sincerest condolences for the ineffable void that is left in your lives. Most of you had to find ways to persevere in your studies in the midst of phenomenal uncertainty, tremendous pressure. All of you should feel justly proud that you have graduated during an extremely fraught period in our history. Now, a recent essay in the New York Times by journalist Frederick Kaufman makes the compelling argument that COVID-19 has defied the rules of a traditional narrative. That is, in grappling with what's been unfolding over the past 2.5 years and counting, we may actually find ourselves incapable of describing the enormity of it. We can't yet fathom in a way where we could craft a coherent story about COVID-19 and the systemic injustices it has revealed and exacerbated. Right now, the story of the pandemic just feels too unwieldy, too complex to capture in a movie or a play or a novel. After all, the pandemic is continuing to evolve, and we have only just begun to actually reckon with its full impact. But to prevent future pandemics, and I would say to improve healthcare overall, we need to continue to learn from and make sense of the COVID-19 crisis and all the other crises that are happening around us. We're going to need to figure out what these mean for our global society, for medicine, for public health, and we're going to have to resist the temptation to leave the story unexplored and unwritten. Now, I'm convinced that doctors and nurses and public health workers on the front lines are all voices that are going to be vital to the telling of this tale. All of you, in particular, have witnessed in stark relief the consequences of severe health disparities during a pivotal moment in your careers. You've experienced firsthand the interconnectedness of human health and the failures and challenges of our current society. You spent many hours in local emergency rooms overcoming vaccine hesitancy. You helped develop a COVID-19 confidence toolkit with researchers at Ariadne Labs. You volunteered at Boston Hope, the city's post-acute COVID-19 hospital, and you developed a COVID-19 curricula that has been adopted by medical schools all over the world. And 2 of you, I understand, even wrote a children's book about COVID. Lots of amazing contributions. You are the storytellers who will help us all give context and meaning to the global tragedy that we've endured. And you will be the physicians and scientists of the future who will be devising solutions. I can't be more proud of all of you for your accomplishments here at HMS and at HSDM and the work that you are currently doing, refining, reimagining, and helping to advance healthcare for generations to come. And as you begin to piece together the pandemic narrative, your own stories will emerge in parallel. I recently learned that after starting Harvard Medical School, Paul Farmer, whom we lost this year and we dearly miss, first worked as a contact tracer for Harvard Chan School of Public Health professor Ed Nardell, who was at the time the director of the tuberculosis control for the city of Cambridge. That Paul started his medical school journey as a contact tracer should help you realize just how much opportunity is in store for you. I hope you'll use this moment back here at HMS to recommit to the idealism that motivated you as a student. You might also use this time to reflect on what you've seen of the healthcare universe so far. What are the challenges that you've encountered? What are some of the barriers to access that you've observed? Is being a doctor all that you envisioned? Don't answer that. We can talk at the you're in your residencies, it's a hard time. It gets better. But you have to think, what's different from what you thought it would be? What role might you play in creating the positive change you'd like to see? So in asking yourselves these questions, I think you'll start to see that it's actually your story is the pandemic story. And each informs the other, right? Braided together, the stories you experience independently and with others are the best chance we have when put into a narrative to get at the crux of what needs to change in healthcare and medicine. So you are already reshaping the narrative. Among you are physicians like Nelson Malone, a first-year high school, college, and HMS graduate who's now a resident at Johns Hopkins, where his grandmother cleaned floors in the 1950s. The world has changed. Physicians like Claire Wagner, who's now the chief strategist of the Bill and Melinda Gates Medical Research Institute. Claire. And I could list what so many more of you are doing, beginning to chart courses that will bring us enormous pride and hope for years to come. May all of you find the joy and the solace in sharing some of these recent experiences with your fellow graduates. May you newly re-inspire each other. Your fellow alums will always be part of your arsenal of support and wisdom. And my pledge to you is that Harvard Medical School, Harvard School of Dental Medicine, and the entire alumni community will also always be here for you. So congratulations again. So now it's with great pleasure that I invite the Dean for Medical Education, Ed Hundert, and our Registrar, Terry Galuska, who is going to, first, Ed will help us recognize our alumni, and then we will be meeting and confirming the conferral of the prior degrees. Ed.
Great. As the students start to line up, I do want to just pick up on what Dean Daly just said about being alumni already. Usually at a class day, we would have someone from the Alumni Association come here and welcome you to the Harvard Medical Alumni Association, the Harvard Dental Alumni Association, and you are already members. But I do want to say that now we're hoping that as travel is starting to open up again, I look forward to seeing all of you wherever you are when we come out. We do HMS West, HMS Central. We have events all over the country, and we really look forward to seeing you and hope that you'll participate in the Alumni Association. It's a great way to stay connected, and it's also a really fun way to sort of touch base with what all of your other classmates are doing. And by the way, keep those referral networks open if you ever need to refer patients to one another around the country. We organize the giving out of the envelopes here by academic society. I think all of you know, and most of the parents know. and family members that we divide the students into 5 academic societies, which are their homes for advising and mentoring. We do these alphabetically. The first 2 societies are the Walter B. Cannon Society and the William B. Castle Society. And we're going to have Dr. Jenny Potter, the head of the Castle Society, call the names for both Cannon and Castle this afternoon. Dr. Potter is one of the nation's leaders in LGBTQ health and healthcare education. She heads student wellness programs for our medical school, and she is a professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School, and so I'm delighted to welcome to the podium Dr. Jenny Potter. And we remember we're doing the fist bumps and the arms.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hundert, and good afternoon, everyone. What a joy it is to be here with you today. So I will begin by recognizing the names of the class of 2020 and 2021 graduates from the Walter B. Cannon Society who were able to join us today. Dr. Santino Butler. Dr. Jia Jane Chen. Dr. David Graham Clossy. Dr. Jennifer Lou Halford. Dr. Jeffrey Robert Herala. Dr. Mohammed Sarib Hussain. Dr. Ethan Katz-Nelson. Dr. Yifan Liu. Dr. Christopher James Murray. Dr. Fejiro Okifo. Dr. Ricardo Ortiz. Dr. Jocelyn Lee Streed. Dr. Lucilla Marie Suarez. Dr. Nora Cristina Torres Jordan. Dr. Ahmed El Naim. Dr. Andrew Robert Emery. Dr. Daniel Gonzalez. Dr. Ashwini Joshi. Dr. Chase Christian Marceau. Dr. Angel Mauricio Reyes. Dr. Mariam Silla. Dr. Chen Wei. Dr. Alan Siliang Zhou. And now it is my great honor to announce the names of the class of 2020 and 2021 graduates of the William Bosworth Castle Society. Dr. Camilo Andres Campo. Dr. Fiatsubi Setutski Juali. Dr. Josephine Tessa Cochran Fisher. Dr. Karan Paresh Ganjwala. Dr. Allison Alden Mers. Dr. Nicholas Sims Moore. Dr. Samantha Farah Sanders. Dr. Claire Marie Wagner.
Leon, this one's yours.
Dr. Taylor Erin Brown. Dr. Nelson C. Malone. Dr. Catherine Grace McDaniel. Dr. Andrew William Parsons. Dr. Natalie Elizabeth Williams. Dr. Mike Genu Zai. Please join me in congratulating the Cannon and Castle graduates of years 2020 and 2021.
Next up, we have the William Augustus Hinton Society. The head of the Hinton Society is Dr. Anthony D'Amico. Dr. D'Amico is a national leader in the treatment of prostate cancer. He also heads career advising for HMS. He's a professor of radiation oncology, and it is my pleasure to welcome him to the podium.
Thank you, Dean Hundred. We're going to start with Dr. Benjamin Landwersick. Dr. Jeffrey Alexander Bays. Dr. Bhushan Deshpande. Dr. Hilary Dolstad. Dr. Parissa Nicole Fella. Dr. Magda Joshi. Dr. Demir Labuya. Dr. Alexander James Ordabody. Dr. Gavin Grant Oshak. Dr. Kirsten Woody Scott. Dr. Joe K. Tung. Dr. Edward Chihang Wang. Dr. Titi Tayo Aranola Afolabi. Dr. Isabel Shanette Wajango. Dr. Joyce Zhao. Let's congratulate the 2021 and 2020 class of the Hinton Society.
Thank you. Next up, we have the Irving M. London Society, the home of our HST program. The head of the London Society is Dr. Wolfram Gosling, one of the nation's leaders in the study of liver cancer. He oversees our physician scientist training program. He's a professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School, and it is my joy to welcome him to the podium.
Thank you, Dean Hundred, and welcome to all of you. I'm excited to introduce to you the 2020 and 2021 graduates of the Irving M. London Society and the Harvard MIT Division of Health Sciences and Technology. Dr. Sarah Garnet. Dr. Min Young Deng. Dr. Amy Lee. Dr. Selena Lee. Dr. Andrew Wynn. Oh, wow. Dr. Rachel Rodin. Dr. Michael Tom. Dr. Matthew Weber. Here. Dr. Sinan Ibrahim. Dr. David Gutenberg. Dr. Thomas Howard. Dr. Nicholas Kwok. Dr. Yu Jong Meng. No. Dr. Abigail Esther Schiff. Dr. Swan Tuan. Again, congratulations to the 2020 and 2021 graduates of the Irving M. London Society and the HST program.
Last but not least, we have the Francis Weld Peabody Society. I do want to note that the society started in the late 1980s, and the founding director of the Peabody Society, who led it for 30 years, Dr. Ronald Arkey, is sitting right over here. We were very fortunate that a number of people who didn't originally register for the event today have been walk-ons, and so I'm going to introduce the head of the Peabody Society, first to introduce all the Peabody members, and then a variety of people from all 5 societies who were able to join us today and be part of our ceremony. The head of the Peabody Society is Dr. Bernard Chang. Dr. Chang is a national leader in epilepsy research and treatment. He also is the head of the Pathways Pre-Clerkship Curriculum at HMS, and he is a professor of neurology here at Harvard Medical School. So please welcome to the podium Dr. Bernard Chang.
Thank you so much, Dean Hunnert. I am so proud to present to all of you the graduating students of the Francis Weld Peabody Society from the classes of 2020 and 2021. Dr. Kin Chaeman Ong. Dr. Tyler Chavez. Dr. Ricardo De Armas. Dr. Andrea Nadine Hinton. Dr. Janice Kim. Dr. Jordan Leibovic.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Andrew Jordan Mall. Dr. Julia Pian. Dr. Daniel Sakavi.
Thank you.
Dr. Christine Jiayi Wang. And accompanied by family, Dr. Santhira Haimith Wijayaratna. Dr. Troy Amin. Dr. Enchi Christina Chang. Dr. Lisa Guo.
Thank you.
Dr. Yisi Daisy G. Dr. Carlton Lawrence. Dr. Michael William Seward. Accompanied by family, Dr. Sun Jin Lee. Accompanied by family, Dr. Larissa Shagabayeva. Dr. Melody Wang. Dr. Timothy McGinnis. Dr. Maria Thomas. Dr. Tara Jane. Dr. Patrick Lee. Dr. Zoe Fullerton. Dr. Perry Choi. Dr. Constantine Tarabanis.
I still remember to go to the final play.
Dr. Micah Johnson. And accompanied by family, Dr. Nicholas Bodner. Please join me one more time in congratulating all of the graduates of the classes of 2020 and 2021.
Well, congratulations to everyone. One of the things that we do at class day is recite the class oath that each class recites. And so we are going to now invite up to the podium Deans Daly and Ginobili to read the class oaths. And we're going to ask each class in turn, 2020 and then 2021, to stand. The oaths are in the envelope that you just received. So let me turn the podium back over to the Dean of Harvard Medical School and the Dean of Harvard School of Dental Medicine.
So since the time of Hippocrates, over 2,000 years ago, medical practitioners have taken an oath to uphold the principles of the vocation to which they dedicate themselves. And in setting forth these principles, the oath serves both as a contract with the community and an affirmation of the deep commitment to the profession. And today, the class of 2020 and 2021, you stand before family, friends, and colleagues poised to continue a rich tradition of discovery and healing. And being mindful of the debt that you owe to the mentorship of those who came before you, while recognizing that your work will inform the practices of those who follow, you created oaths drawing on elements both ancient and recent. And now I invite you as a class to articulate the ideals and principles that have guided you in your journey as physicians and dentists, and we will read the first class oath. I pledge to respect how people become patients, to recognize the whole person who encompasses far more than disease. I remember that medicine is an art as much as it is a science. I will seek to understand my patients' lives, not direct them. When my patients show their pain, I will see them. When they tell their stories, I will hear them. Together, we will respect our patients' confidentiality and will not take for granted the trust that our patients place in us. Recognizing our shared frailty, we will first do no harm, treading carefully in matters of life and death. We will remember the healing power of each therapeutic relationship and fulfill our responsibilities with compassion and humility. I recognize that the health of my patients occurs within a context deeply shaped by broader forces in society. I pledge to use the privilege of my white coat to advocate for my patients and to amplify unheard voices with respect and honor. I will strive to recognize and dismantle forms of justice that contribute to health inequities. Together, we will not be bystanders to the status quo. We will reimagine the future of healthcare, never forgetting how far medicine has come and still how far it has to go. I remember that in order to best serve my patients and this world, I must first care for myself. I will attend to my own health, well-being, and the gifts of life that restore me. I will strive for balance and cultivate resilience, approaching all situations with curiosity and a humble heart. I will look for the good in others and in myself, even if, and especially when, it is difficult. Together, we will reflect, forgive, and have courage as we take these next steps into a lifetime of learning and growth. I pledge to support my colleagues through moments filled with hope and healing, as well as those marked by pain and suffering. With gratitude to those who have fostered my growth, I will strive to invest in the next generation of healers. Together, we enter our profession with the duty to embrace, care for, and learn from one another, those here before us and those who will come after. We join our profession in a changing world with challenges that ask more from each of us and as a collective whole. May our journeys be filled with hope. May we forever strive to uphold the values of our calling as we accompany those in need of healing, to leave our world better than we found it, and to long experience the meaning and joy of our service. Thank you, class of 2020. Now, I sort of made a little mistake. Let's come up here, Will. We'll bring the Dean of the Harvard School of Dental Medicine. We were going to ask you all to rise this time and really speak loudly, and Will lead the class of 2021 oath.
Thank you, Dean Daly. Okay, so we'll all stand for the class oath of 2021. Okay, so today we pledge to all those here today with recognition of the education and experience gained on the ancestral land of the Massachusetts people, that according to my ability, we pledge to our patients to do no harm, uphold your autonomy, protect your privacy, and be your partner in the journey towards healing. We will approach each person holistically and humbly, offering a listening ear and a hungry mind. We recognize our patients' lived experiences, strengths, and resilience so that their wellness can be rooted in empowerment. We are prepared to confront and explore disease with both ardor and empathy so that our patients can move through illness with dignity. We pledge to our families to remember the sacrifices made and work done by so many before and beside us so that we could take this title, Doctor. We will continue to challenge ourselves, grow and excel for the service and care of others. We honor the lives lived and legacies left by those who were hurt by medicine and to aspire to transform care so that it can meet the needs of our country's people. We will uplift our communities, magnify their voices, and advocate for health, equity, and justice. We pledge to each other, our peers, our teachers, and mentors to remain curious, embrace our mistakes, and commit to a life of learning. We realize that medicine is an art that we must carry out with patience, reflection, attention, and collaboration. We commit to this practice alongside our interprofessional colleagues and friends so that we can ensure patient-centered progress. We will turn to scientific evidence, discovery, and innovation in our decisions and treatment plans. And we welcome the call to our leadership where our decisions and policies have the opportunity to alleviate suffering. We pledged ourselves to remain true and reflect on what inspired us to pursue medicine. We will remember the experiences, the stories, and the love that shaped this calling in our most difficult moments. And we will take care of ourselves and one another, striving to find joy and purpose every day. From this day forward, I freely and fearlessly take this oath and accept the responsibilities of a physician. May I uphold the honor, this profession, and care for any person in need. Okay.
And we'll turn it back over to Dean Ed Hundert to close the ceremony.
Great, thank you. Thank you very, very much. Just want to thank everyone for coming. I sort of imagine decades from now when one of your grandchildren will be doing their junior high oral history project and come at you with whatever is the latest kind of recording device they'll have then and say, is it true that when you were in medical and dental school was when they had that COVID pandemic that people talk about? And you'll say, yeah, actually, I missed my graduation and we had like a makeup graduation. I'm going to put that in my report. It's hard to just describe all the ripple effects of everything that we've been through. And so it's just wonderful to be here together, to have a celebration. I want to make sure before we close that we thank the Student Affairs team for making this happen. I want you to imagine, first of all, being hired as Rosa Soler's successor as the new Director of Student Affairs a few months before you have to plan not one, but 2 Class Day celebrations, Thursdays and todays, never having done this before. So, I think we have to give a special shout out to Cheryl O'Brien, I see Carrie Sylvan, we have Kate Salvador here, we got Terry Galuska. Over here I see Marcia, Christopher, Sheila, Barbara, Denise. I thought this was just an unbelievable, massive team effort. So thank you all for making this possible. I was reflecting back to when we were under this tent doing the white coat ceremony, which is where we started. And I was talking about this being like the refresher for the white coat ceremony. And it reminded me that each year during the white coat ceremony, I tell this story about this monastery. And it's this story about respect, where someone says that one of the monks might be the Messiah, and suddenly the incredible respect that radiates out from the place becomes the sort of rejuvenation of the place. So I thought I might close us out today before we go to the back for the reception with another story about a monastery. And this one is set in the Middle Ages. And as you may know, before Gutenberg invented movable type, the job of many of the monks in the monasteries were really to be scribes, to recopy the Holy Scriptures over and over again. This was considered a sacred duty, because if you introduced an error, these copies would be sent to houses of worship and places of learning throughout Europe and around the world, and an error would get multiplied over the generations, and so people took this very, very seriously. And this story is about a young scholar who was doing research and thought that it was possible that an error had been introduced, possibly even generations before, and took this concern to the abbot, Father Abbot, who ran the monastery. And Father Abbot looked at the research and said, I think there's enough here that we might want to invoke the procedure that we have. It's only been used once before. And he, after suitable praying, took the key that opened the door down to the crypt that held the original copy from which all the copies for centuries had been made. And all the monks gathered around as the abbot went down to the bottom of the crypt. And they waited to see what would happen. And an hour went by, and then 2 hours, and 3. They began to become concerned. They all began to pray. Night fell, and still the abbot didn't come back. In the morning, the monks decided they should send someone down to make sure he's okay. Maybe something had happened to him. So they took the next senior-most monk, and they asked him if he would go down. So he went down to the bottom of the crypt, and there, in front of the original text of the Holy Scriptures, he saw Father Abbot lying on the floor weeping. And he said, "Father Abbot, what is it?" And he looked up from the floor and he said, "My son, there was in fact an error introduced many, many, many years ago." And the monk looked at him and he said, "Father Abbot, what sort of error could it be that is causing you such despondency?" And he looked up and he said, "The word was celebrate." And so celebrate we will. We are here to party. When your class said you wanted to do this, the class was divided. How much ceremony, how much party? We decided about 50-50. So the ceremony is over, and I invite everyone to go back, enjoy refreshments, take photos, let's party. Thanks for being here.